Good morning, welcome to Yoga with Laurie. This little sequence I devised out of my work with people who have lower back issues and back issues in general. Um, Again, this is a kind of yoga you want to check with your physician before you go ahead and do it, but I found it very effective because there's a lot of support for you as you do the yoga. It's called Yoga Against the Wall. So the first thing in yoga against the wall is to come down as close to the wall as you can. You'll notice my shoulder is abutting the wall, my hips are abutting the wall, so that when I lay down, I can swivel and I can bring a low-level blanket underneath the back of the head for padding. Now, at one time during the class, I'm going to suggest you move anything from under the head as we start to go through this. Check the feet, hip width distance apart, toes flex back towards the shin, so you're creating a hamstring calf muscle stretch. This feels good on the back simply because it's tractioned out and supported. Hamstrings and calf muscles, very important muscles to stretch if you're having low back issues. Start to notice the breath. I like to use the hands against the legs just to create a little resistance and notice how that feels in the spine. For me, that feels wonderful. It just feels like there's a little bit of extra traction in the spine. And take 5 to 10 breaths here. This is an inversion, so inversions aren't for everybody. Some of the contraindications for inversions include pregnancy, glaucoma, detached retina, untreated high or low blood pressure. So again, always check with your doctor if you're uncertain whether this is right for you. The next one is to straddle the legs nice and wide. So you get this adductor opening, nice hip opening. At the same time, the toes are back, hands pressing against the thighs, again can give that nice traction in the spine. Makes me want to do a deeper breath. And similarly, 5 to 10 breaths here. There's a lot of benefits for just doing the inversion part of this work, let alone for the work on the back. But just having the legs up above the heart like this can be very beneficial. Often a wonderful thing to do before you go to bed at night. Helps with a good night's sleep. Exhale, bend the knees. This time, bring the soles of the feet together into Baddha Konasana or bound angle or butterfly as we say in Yin Yoga. Creating still an opening in the hips. And again, I can use my hands in several locations here. I can use it by pressing the hands towards the wall against the inner legs adjacent to the knees. Which creates a hip opening. 5 to 10 breaths in this position. And of course, if you want to do more than 5 to 10 breaths or less than 5 to 10 breaths, play it by ear, play it by the sensations in your own body. You always want to be working in the pain-free range of motion. Another one I like to do is bring the hands right down into the hip crease, into where the leg joins the hip, and press and unclog the pelvis. From the ribs. This is also a nice opening. Exhale, release. Once again, just going through those 3 positions. Legs up the wall, toes extended back, hamstring calf muscle stretch. Straddling the legs wide, feeling that adductor stretch, using the hands to create pressure if you wish. and then Baddha Konasana, Supta Baddha Konasana. And the reason some of these stretches can be wonderful is there's no body weight pressing down, which can relieve pressure. Now for the next one, I'm going to remove the blanket from under the head. And the reason I do is simply because it creates a lift of the head, and this is bringing the head out of alignment, creating neck flexion, which is not what I want. So you'll notice the feet hip width distance apart, parallel, still quite low. And then I'm simply going to inhale, lift the hips and bring the weight up onto my shoulders and neck. Now you might do this in increments. It could be something as simple as inhale, lift, exhale, lower, inhale, lift a little higher, exhale, lower. Now with the lifting a little higher and lower, the goal is to come onto the balls and the toes of the feet, to lift the knees and the hips up, to create height, not to walk the feet up the wall. So you're creating mobility in the ankle joint, the feet are working, the arches of the feet are getting awoken. Now there is a tendency, if you have tight clothing on, this will start to choke you around the neck. You may have to adjust your t-shirt so you don't feel like you're being choked. Notice how that feels as you come up and hold the position for several breaths. You'll feel stimulation against the shoulders, the neck. Hips can lift as high as you like. Come on down. Add a little shoulder mobility to this, so as the hips lift, reach the arms over the head, reaching back behind you. Exhale, come back. Try 2 or 3 more in that range of motion, incorporating movement in the shoulders and the arms as the hips lift. Work at the speed of your breath. There's no rush. The next time you return, I'll offer a little more advanced work if you're finding this helpful and comfortable. I'm going to scoot back towards the wall, gather the feet, inhale, lift as high as I can. Now this time I'm going to bend my elbows and bring my hands as support under the low back and lift one foot off the wall, perhaps over the head, pointing the foot towards the floor, and then change. Now for some people, you may want to try both legs. Make sure that the hands are well supporting the low back. You bring both legs off the wall. The legs can come behind you. You can bend the knees towards the forehead. You can also drop the hands down now that the weight is cantilevered over the skull into your plow pose. Or simply come up into your half shoulder stand, lifting up nice and high. Excuse the belly. In a half shoulder stand, you want the weight in the triceps, not the elbows, not the neck. As you come down, you've got the wall there. Bring the feet against the wall. Hands can come down low. Exhale, lower yourself down. Notice how you feel after this inversion work. Notice how the back, neck, shoulders, and hips feel. Come back to your breath. Now to transition here, I'm going to invite you to come over into fetus pose on the side of the body and rotate the body away from the wall. Top hand down in front of the heart. Keep the bottom leg bent. Extend the top leg, roll the top shoulder towards the floor and gently press up. Hands under shoulders for a breath or two to stabilize. And then simply scoot up against the wall and notice how you feel. Feel a comfortable seated position in whatever position works for you. Lift the corners of the mouth. Bring the hands together in prayer position. You take good care of your practice, and your practice will take good care of you. Namaste.